Unmute your speaker. You're connected to computer audio. Okay.
Yep. So apparently this one is set up, this committee is set up, you got to admit people. So you'll have to just, if something pops up that says wait to be admitted, you just have to pop that to admit people.
Okay.
We can change that setting.
Yeah, because everybody's coming in that way.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Can we change that setting now?
I don't know if I can change that now.
Can I unplug the tape?
No. You can, but there's not going to be a way to plug it in and it'll shut off.
Okay.
No.
It's not under participants
No, I just looked.
of my city committee.
You are, so city committee is this machine.
Yeah.
CC system is that one.
And so I'm running the thing, so I should be able to click online.
See it there.
And it's automatically recording.
Yep. Yeah, it's recording already. See,
Yeah.
This is blinking. I think we have to change it before we go into the meeting. I don't think you can change it.
Okay, so everybody I'm doing, I have to
Just come up here and you'll see it at the top. It says admit. And actually what I do is I go like this. So I can see it over here. It'll say who's waiting and it'll say admit next to them.
Okay.
And
Mine
then,
is-
so right now, you're gonna say. Got it. So the problem is this is not me.
Right. That's why.
There. Now you shouldn't get that echo anymore.
Good job.
Okay, so on this, when it comes up,
Yep.
if somebody says, I can't hear you, if you click the little up arrow next to the mute,
Yep.
see where it says microphone Scarlet?
Yeah.
You don't want that. That is the council microphones up
Okay.
there. You want the one that says echo. Noise canceling, it's the owl. And I'll do that again. So right here it says echo and it'll say meeting owl.
But I do want the meeting hour.
You do want the meeting owl now, yes. So now anybody that comes in should be able to hear you. And if you hit start video, they should be able to see you.
There we are.
And I can, you know, when I know you have meetings, it's not that hard for me to be over here to just make sure everything's up and running. I do it for planning, I do it for other departments.
Well, I know you have
It
so
only
many.
takes me a minute to run over and do it.
I know
So
you have so many things, so I'm trying to.
it's all good, but you should be able to see, like if somebody pops up,
Okay.
you should be able to see.
It'll show me there. I'll see
Yeah,
it now.
let me actually, I can set participants. So again, down here at the bottom, if you just hit,
Yep, I see it.
if you hit that, it'll show up right here. And then you can quickly see who's waiting to come in. And then you'll know if you got to go let somebody in.
Okay.
All right. And I'll be in the manager's office. If you have problems or something's not working, just holler.
Yeah, this has been good. I'm using it. I have a young friend whose 4-year-old is having low white blood cell count.
Oh boy.
English is not her first language, so I have gone to the University of Albuquerque Oncology with her.
Yep.
In a Zoom.
Yep.
And she takes me along so I can help her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like,
It's
wow.
awesome. She's got you for that.
Well, we're lucky to be able to help. Okey doke. Okay. Glasses. I'll go back to the slide. Hi. I thought you were coming on your Zoom chair. I did. If you want to sit there, that's a place where the owl can pick you up and see you, and you can see the screen if you can see the screen at all. Yeah. No. Hi, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, about time, huh? Too bad not anyone else coming in person?
No, that's good. We're not crowding.
Well, you can't really crowd around the table. But I brought a mask. I wasn't sure.
So, do you want to tie your iPad in so you can look at the minutes of the meeting?
Oh,
or yeah, I might be able to help you with that. So go to your settings. Oh no, you don't have to do settings. Yeah, because you need to have because you need to have a Wi-Fi. Click into the Wi-Fi, otherwise you won't be able to do it. So we have to do that in your settings. Yeah. Okay, now it's going to give you some choices for Wi-Fi.
There's a.
Okay, there's several of them. So you want the one that it ends in next.
This is Wi-Fi there. The signature part.
Let's see, that's not the one. Try it again, see if you get. Try, that's funny. Try Wi-Fi preferences, second line down. This one here. Okay, here we go. That's the one we want right there. And then we're going to put in the passbooks.
Second. The
Yep.
first one is
This one is capital G R A N I T E 18. Okay. Now you can go to their email that I sent you with the committee, with the link, and click on that. I sent it this morning.
oh, this morning.
It was just a reminder that had the link. And I got to check over here because I have to let people in the room. I can only tell if I'm close enough to see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I think Andrew, do we know who Andrew Main is? Andrew, will you please introduce yourself? You have to unmute yourself. Sabina, you can come in, or you can just use.
I'm just looking at a blank screen.
Okay. That might be a problem for you. Sorry, I was trying to give you the minutes of the agenda. Andrew, if you could hear us, we need you to identify yourself, please.
Hillary Cole.
Hi, Hillary.
Hi.
Got you. I'm trying to get Andrew Main to identify themselves. Andrew Main.
Yes, hello.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Are you intending to be in the Berry City ADA committee meeting?
Yes.
Thank you. Where do you live?
Sorry.
Where do you live?
Here in Vermont.
You live here in Berry?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, I lost. Did I lose people?
So, okay,
Bird, can you hear me?
I'm gonna, yeah, hi, Marshall.
Hi.
I'm going to see if I can help Dina. If anyone sees there's somebody else trying to come in, please let me know. That's where I have to do it. Yes, I can help you with that. Let's, you don't need to be in, you can see that. Can you see that up there? Okay, so do you want to see it on your, okay. Yeah.
I wasn't. This isn't what I wanted to say.
I don't know. I don't know your tool. So,
All right, I'm back.
okay.
But how can I tell if I'm giving?
You can unmute yourself.
How do I do that?
I don't know your iPad, so let's take a look. Unmute. Let's see. Here we go. Start video. You won't need to just talk, and the owl will pick you up. How's
I
that?
don't want to be showing audio.
I don't know. You can try. Yes. Okay.
So Bern and others, I just wanted to say I had said originally I wasn't going to be here, but it turned out I did not go to Jersey to see my mom because Erin ended up getting COVID. And so I ended up staying. So I didn't pass anything to my mom. So I'm not sure if I have it yet. But testing every day.
Thank you for being here, but I'm so sorry you couldn't be a part of that.
But I can't really, I don't know how others are feeling. I can't really hear you.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, it's really bad sound. Yes.
Okay. Oh. There's a lot going on here. Okay. I'm just gonna, who's going to take minutes?
Oh, you are? Okay. If you want to
Thanks,
take
Mary.
them, you can. Thank
So-
you.
So I see that we have Hillary, Erica, Marichelle, Dina, and myself, so we have a quorum. And we have a guest who's Andrew Main. And we're calling to order at about 3:06. Are there any adjustments to the meeting? Then we need to approve last minute meeting minutes. There was a cancellation, so our last meeting was actually in April. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the last minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Down to number 4. Sorry, I haven't figured out, but I will learn for next time how to have a screen that you can also see or choose to see the agenda. We have grievances. Are there any grievances? Jeff is not here. He's in a meeting. So I have some grievances to list and would like to file them here with Jeff. The entry door downstairs, that is the accessible door that you push. What is that a name for that, Erica?
The accessible door is we just call it the accessible door.
Okay.
The handicap door.
The accessible door can be turned on and off. And Rick told me that it often gets turned off. So it was off when I arrived, and I wanted to make sure, because I knew Dina was coming, he went down and showed me how to turn it on. So we want to make sure that's always on, unless the Opera House is making it, but that they put it back on. So there's a door that is on the 2nd floor that comes from the Opera House into the City Hall. That door was closed and it is not able to be opened. That door has a magnet and the magnet was not attached. So we want to make sure that that door is always accessible, or there's a bell ringer or something that will allow people to come in through there, because it's the only way into City Hall.
You need a door handle.
It doesn't have a door push. It's held open with a magnet, and the magnet comes off, or they take it off when the air conditioning is running. They do not have working air conditioning. So also there are no signs to the elevator or when you are on the elevator that tell you where to go.
Yes, there is.
There are no signs in Braille or for people who are visually handicapped.
I always
Say again, Andrew. Andrew, did you want to say?
I always couldn't find the elevator.
You couldn't find the elevator. That's because it's straight in the door and there's no way once you're in the lobby to find it if you can't see it.
The elevator's at that door.
The elevator has what?
You get to the elevator by that door.
Yes, but you have to see where the elevator is if you're coming to the building. So Andrew, did you try to come in the building and find the elevator? More about that later, I guess.
So Dina, what Bern's saying is there's no signage to point you to the elevator. So if you're not familiar with the building, you don't know where the elevator is.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
really,
but, I mean, you can only get to the elevator by the back door. You can't get to the elevator by the front door.
no, you have
Right.
to use the back door.
Right, but if you're not, but the first thing you see when you get through the accessible entrance are the stairs. You have to go behind the stairs to get to the elevator. There's no signage that directs you to the elevator.
It's a very confusing lobby.
I didn't think so. You go in the door and straight ahead is the elevator.
Well, you've been coming for a long time, but the first time I came, I couldn't find it either. So I appreciate that, not being able to find the elevator. Anybody else have any other comments about accessibility that we're going to press the city on besides the bathrooms?
Are we still talking about City Hall?
We're talking about City Hall.
Oh, never mind. I thought we were talking grievances.
Well, we are, but we're focused on City Hall and that grievance process right now. The signs on the bathroom say that they're out of order. They're not accessible by a wheelchair. However, they're not out of order. I think you have to get a key from somebody, and they should say that if they're keeping them locked, they should be usable. At least that's what I think. Does anybody disagree with me?
I don't disagree, but I also think that there's some, there might be inappropriate, I don't understand the comment from Hillary that was in the chat, and I don't know if we're being bombed or if it was just a typo.
Sorry, I couldn't see the
What did I say?
There is a chat in the chat. It says, I think we're being bombed. If you didn't write something in the chat, Hillary,
We're being bombed.
we should get out and then sign back in.
So how can those people come in if they're not, if I haven't allowed them in?
So, Hillary, did you?
Hillary left.
Okay. Andrew, where are you from?
From B.
From where?
From Barry.
Can you give us your address, please?
For the record,
I don't know why that's necessary.
Because originally when you signed off, you came back on as Hillary and then you changed it to Andrew Main. So you had originally written that text. So we're gonna have
I would never do such a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to kick you out. So
No!
Bern, can you please?
No!
Bern, can you please? Bert, let's get out.
Lose some
Can you
weight.
end the meeting, please? Thank you.
Erica, you so bad.
bye. I'll be right back in.
Oops, wrong one. Okay. Now I'm trying to see.
Am I out?
Oh, I love being bombed.
I need to invite anyone. Okay, so we just got Erica.
The rest should be coming back in.
So Dina, you can come back if you want to try. Thanks for helping me work through that. There are a couple more people who want to come in, and I just don't know what to do with them. So,
What are their names?
Thomas Smith and Emma Salz, S-A-L-L-S.
Do you want to give me control? I think they're just bombers.
I think so too. I'm trying to see. I don't know how to do control.
If you go to the top right of my screen where you see me and the buttons in the blue, and you see the 3 dots, and it says to the right, it says make co-host.
And I apologize. Normally I don't write personal message in the chat, but I assume that's what was happening.
Yeah. No worries.
And I'm letting Dina in. There's somebody calling from a phone number. I don't know.
No, those are
Bombers.
yeah.
Okay, so do we have our group back yet? I can't see. Okay, I think we're back to our group. Okay. I thought I could be in one place and do this, but apparently I can't. Okay. I guess because this is a public advertised meeting, the risk of bombers is something we just have to deal with.
Yeah, it would happen as city council as well. So it happens. It's one of those things.
I forgot to put mine on mute as well. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for working together on that.
So where we left. I don't know, but where we left off, we were talking about the elevator.
Well, yeah, you were talking, Bern had the 3 grievances. The third one was the no signs to the elevator. It's unable for people who have who are visually impaired. It's or have never been to City Hall before. It's difficult for them to find the elevator.
Yeah.
So having appropriate signage would be helpful.
Yeah, we have some written signs, but we need a little more. And the whole thing with bathrooms. I thought is that the ADA has been around for 32 years. And in 32 years, the city has not seen fit to make the bathrooms, or even one bathroom, accessible. And it comes up for me, not just around coming here and needing to use the bathroom. And I understand the reasons behind locking the bathroom doors. But they're just not accessible. And
Hillary's trying to get back in.
okay, well, tell her to click.
Well, she needs to put her camera on. I'll let her in, but she needs to put the camera on.
Tell her to click on the link.
Hillary,
Oh, I see.
Hillary,
Yes.
okay, just want to make sure it's you.
Are we, so is everybody that was in the meeting before in the meeting?
Yes. So there's
Everyone.
there's still people, bombers trying to get in. I'm not allowing anybody else in.
Carrie Walker Dunster was trying to get in.
Oh,
Well, she's not, is she calling in?
yes.
She was zooming in, I thought, but I don't know. I don't know.
There is nobody else zooming in with a name. There are people who are calling in and I'm not letting them in.
What's her phone number? Hillary, what's her phone number? I don't have it.
We continue.
Yeah, just a second. Hillary's looking for Carrie's phone number so that she can tell Marichelle, and then Marichelle can let her in.
Wait, okay, it's 371. Hold on, because I got to get into my other contacts. Can you hear me?
Yep.
8204.
820. Okay, that one has not been calling.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna tell her that she can
And
go.
if she's been zooming in, I haven't seen that name.
Okay, yeah, she's been trying to get in since 3, so now I think she's gonna go.
Does she work at the hospital?
No, she's one of the SASH nurses. SASH
okay.
people.
No, the number 371 is the hospital.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so call that's a problem. So call
So going along with the bathrooms, the men's room is all the way downstairs. So if you're somebody who identifies as male, you have to go all the way downstairs to use the bathroom.
So you're downstairs, you have to go all the way upstairs if you're female.
Right. So if you're female, you can just use the one. If you identify as female, you can just use the one next door. But the men's bathroom is downstairs.
Why can't they just make the ladies' room into a unisex?
Yeah.
Well, I know that a lot of people identify as male that need to use the bathroom just use it, but it's just even if you're an employee who identifies as male, I don't think the elevator goes down to where the planning office is, or I don't think it's the planning office, but the office is downstairs.
Erica, wasn't the men's room like you had to go up a stair and it was like in a corner?
Yeah, through some archway, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it was only like what? The doorway wasn't even a normal door.
So I think it's pretty obvious that it's not something the city has felt compelled to do anything with. And with all of the changes of staff and the need for more and new staff, I find that not having these things in place, we have taken out a whole section of the population by not being accessible and on all of those fronts. So I'd just like to bring them to Jeff as our serious concerns. And it was suggested to me, I spoke with a gentleman who's done this advocacy work at the state level for a number of years. He said, if there's something we want to see change, he said, we all have to show up. There has to be a lot of people showing up over and over and over again.
Excuse me, Vern. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hillary, Emma Sauls is in the waiting room.
I don't know Emma Sauls, but Carrie said she just switched over to try to get into the Zoom.
The name is Emma Sauls.
Oh, I don't know who that person is.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to ask her if that's the name, we've been Zoom bombed, so we're not letting anybody in whose name we don't recognize.
I don't recognize that name.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Okay.
No, that's fine. I mean, sorry. No, you didn't interrupt me. Sorry.
I don't understand why Carrie can't get in if she's clicking on the link, if she's using or dialing in.
But she's dialed in and she's waited until from 3 until now, and then she just tried to Zoom in and she can't get in. So I told her, seeing as she works till 3:30, that she could just be done.
And her internet would be under Emma Sauls.
Okay, then let's not talk about it anymore because she's not going to be participating.
Right. Yes.
I'm sorry because it was really felt important for her to be a part of this.
Yeah, we talked about it. Okay, I'll fill her in if she was going to give this meeting a few tries and see how it went. And yeah, so I'll talk to her.
Okay. Dina, I think we're done with City Hall. You had some other grievance you wanted to bring to Jeff's attention?
Yeah, the crosswalk sound is not working as you cross from Denty's over to Mr. Z's or vice versa.
Crosswalk sound at
Denty's.
Mr. Z's and Denty's, yep. Denty's is not working. Okay, thank you. I will.
And there was a couple other where I was going to try to send those to click it to get it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to, I'll do that. C-Click Fix. I talked to somebody, they weren't sure who was monitoring that. So I will follow up with that and find out if it is being monitored. And if not, I'll bring it to Jeff, who should take it to, or go to Bill. I'll take it to Bill. Okay, anything else? Okay. Hi, I just have to tell you, I'm freaking stressed out doing this. I need to just say that and laugh a little bit. This is supposed to be really easy. I think that there were at least 5 problems that came up while Rick was setting it up for me, and I was taking notes. So easy, it is not. And if this is going to be a requirement, I don't know how else we can do it, but I'll be chatting with Rick about that. He said that he will get everything set up so it works. But then we get things like the bombers and I don't know what to do. So thank you, Marichelle, for being here and co-hosting.
Yes, I wanted to say thank you to her too.
And the next thing on the list was recruitment reports. Carrie was one of the people that I asked if she would come. So it's really disappointing that Zooming in for some reason didn't work today. I think she would be a great addition. She sees a lot of people, and she works with Hillary, but they have different jobs, I think, right, Hillary?
Who does she work with?
She works with me. I'm her supervisor.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I supervise Carrie.
And
She's a
Brian,
SAS coordinator.
why he's not here, I don't know. So has anybody else been able to do any recruiting?
I asked Carrie to come, and she decided to come.
And I followed up with that because I was really excited to see that she was going to come.
Yeah.
Hillary, what about getting another SAS representative?
That was,
You know, I thought about that, but I don't know. I guess I need to think about that a little bit more.
okay.
I'd love to see people from different, from other areas other than, but, we could talk about that. Yeah.
He's a person in the community who's come to one meeting. So I want to just say that our liaison to City Hall is Jeff. When we moved to the 3 o'clock spot, Jeff said he might not be able to make some of the meetings. He's not been able to make any of the meetings. He is a buildings person.
When was the last time he came to?
He often didn't come or left because other things took precedent over ADA. And I don't know if we want to. I know that the new city manager is working really hard to get up to speed and meeting with all the committee heads. They're meeting in a finance, Rick is doing the IT plus 14 other jobs. Everybody's doing other jobs because they haven't filled any of their positions. And one of the things that Rick said to me was he wanted to know, why do we have all these committees? All of the committees that you look on the city webpage, most of them were formed by former city councilors and former mayor. Why are we here? And I know the planning commission is a mandatory. ADA committee is not mandatory. Why are we here? And Erica, will you tell us why do we want to persist? Because this is not working to me.
So I can tell you that according to the law, that every town is mandated to have an ADA coordinator. When the ADA was created 32 years ago, every town, city, valley, any place that had staff of 15 or more had to have an ADA coordinator. And I can tell you that there was an ADA committee built because any new building, any transitional plan, and that's the other thing, every city, town, whatever, has to have a transition plan about how they're going to make their cities transition to be ADA compliant. But if the city of Barre does not have an ADA coordinator, they are out of compliance with the ADA. So if Jeff doesn't want it, then the city manager, it's up to the city manager to have somebody who takes care of ADA compliance within the city of Barry. And that the city manager can talk to me about it. But it's in the small town guide for ADA. That's why the ADA committee was formed. So it does, now I've looked high and low to see if a city has to have a committee, and I really couldn't find that information. However, it does have to have an ADA officer that makes a transition plan. I believe the city of Barry chose to have a committee. So going back in history, if Jeff feels that he doesn't have the time, then he has to talk to the manager about that.
Do we have a transition plan, Erica?
We do not have a transition plan.
Have we ever had one or started one?
We started one.
Yeah.
But like everybody else, I do see your hand, Marshall. Like everybody else, we never really had people work full-time jobs, so we never really had time to finish it.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Go ahead, Marshall.
Is this something that can be collaborated on with the Diversity and Equity Committee?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be.
Because I know that they are working on grants or writing grants and moving forward with doing education for writing grants to do trainings and education for staff for city council on how to be more equitable and inclusive, and specifically for city councils, for city staff to be more equitable and inclusive. And if this is mandatory, if the ADA compliance is mandatory, I mean, that's, you know.
So I attended, sorry. Let me know
No.
if you're done. It's hard to tell.
Go on.
I attended 3 out of 4 transition plan conferences via Zoom during the winter. And I know Erica had started writing some stuff from Montpelier's transition plan. Transition plans that were presented were done so by, I'm sorry. Those transition plans were done by employees of cities. They were tasked as a part of their job to do these transition plans. And they included people from transportation. These were larger cities than Barry. Transportation, buildings, and all of those aspects. And they formulated a working plan. It's, to me, it's a little bit like we've got this space at City Hall. We're going to transition it into something else. That would be where a transition plan for that would be necessary. And I don't know if there's a plan or somebody's just looking at it and says, well, someday when we do it. The transition plan came with dates, and it came with the expectation that things are going to get carried out, not just someday we'll do it. So yeah, maybe we can work with, be a part of that. I'll try to talk to Joe Ellen about it. Is that what I should do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I see Dina had her hand up for a while, but like the transition plan looks at like, how are we going to make, like for example, in the city clerk's office, the countertops are not, are too high for somebody in a wheelchair to access. There's not enough turn space for somebody in a wheelchair. You know, if you look at the door handles in the room you're in, they're not accessible. Those types of things. And Dina, you had your hand up. What's up?
You're saying that Jeff is the ADA coordinator,
No,
or is he just, what is his role?
he's a liaison person from the city. He's a city staff person that was tasked to be our liaison person. So we can have him be a part of our meetings. We can go to him with issues, because I think at the time they were only thinking about buildings, and he's buildings and grounds. So that's how I believe he got
So
to be
who
ours.
is our current coordinator?
We don't have one.
So we don't have a coordinator, is that why we're a committee?
I think so. I can ask Rick about it.
And the thing is that what's frustrating with this committee and a lot of committees is that, you know, with city committees, we only advise. That's it. And they don't, we can take we can just take what we have to say and bring it to city council. They can just look at it and go, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And they can just table it. We can put all this work into it and they can just table it. That's what's frustrating. And then they can ask us, we want you to help us with this, but that doesn't mean that they're going to do anything about it. So that's what's frustrating. That's why it just seems like, you know, working with other committees might be the way to go.
So yeah, we can definitely,
yeah.
You know, like I work with the TAC on some, you know, I'm also part of the TAC because a lot of the ADA stuff works with them, but I can definitely see us working with, I'm gonna have a dog bark in a minute, so I'm kind of have my finger on the mute button. But we, you know, working with the D&E committee would definitely be a great ally because, you know, they're working on some of the same stuff.
Now, Erica, I thought way back when, if we can put in that these things need to be taken care of for ADA compliance. But if the municipal building that where the city does not have the funding, then they don't have to do it.
They have to do it eventually. You know, everything that we put forth, I mean, we can say, well, you have to change your door handles, they're not compliant. But you know, everything has to be brought up to speed eventually. Like that whole building that you're sitting in is not.
I mean, because haven't we been a committee for more than 10 years?
Yeah, we've been a committee for more than 10 years.
But we started with a big dig, is that correct?
I want to say before then.
Yeah.
So what I see has happened is when there's something new or something that's been redone, they're meeting the ADA guidelines. And if there's no work being done on it, it's stagnant. And the plan to redesign this whole floor and where people are and access and the bathrooms and all of that, that's a big plan. And like you said, Erica, about making the city clerk's office for paying your taxes and going into Vogue or anything that you want to do, adjusting the heights and making all of that accessible. That's all a part of the plan that they have. I don't know when they're implementing that plan. I don't know how it's going. So maybe that's a question to make City Hall accessible.
Right.
I don't
'cause
mean
it's-
to, I don't mean to interrupt, but I don't know how to raise my hand on my phone.
That's fine.
Sorry. So I would bet it's a little bit like our budget. Like we have like a 5-year plan, and you know, like handicap doorknobs are on the list for all buildings. And sometimes, you know, like we get a leak at Green Acres, and we got, you know, 100 gallons of water leaking out every day, or you know, something crazy like that. Then we have to readjust, and our budget gets taken a different route. And we got, you know, not that it's not an important thing, but you know what I mean? Like if you only have a certain amount of money, then you got to transition it to somewhere else, and then that goes down the list again on the budget. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not fun, but it happens.
Well, it's very similar to, like, you know, if there's something new going on at City Hall, like even something minute, like when they put in the signage for the, I forget, I think it was Nick Landry who put in the new red signs. And I put up a fit because they were not compliant. And he didn't see what the point was because, well, they're signs, everybody can read them. And I'm like, but they're not compliant, Nick. Nick was before Rick, because they're not brailled. And, you know, things like that is actually stuff we should be asked about because we actually know compliance.
Yes, that's an excellent point, especially if you're putting up new signs. If you're doing it, you know what I mean? It would be like us putting new doorknobs in and using the wrong ones, you know, right?
And that's a systems issue where,
Right.
you know, they don't have that in place. You know, that whoever is ordering things needs to know, you know, that things need to run through certain people, and they aren't doing that.
Right. When it's
You know,
too
and
late.
and that's where that training comes into practice. That training is important. You know,
Yeah,
we need
I
to
agree.
think about this. We need to think about this before we put it in order for anything. You know,
Exactly.
we need to think about the people that we're serving, not just the people who work in the building.
Right. Good. Excellent point.
Both, because we're limiting the people who can work here.
Right. Exactly.
And who can enter.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to be having some more chats.
Yeah.
I know that that there's a lot happening, and there was a lot of frustration when I was talking with the staff person who's IT, HR, on the finance committee right now, trying to meet and make sure these things happen because they're not new to him either. So it'll be something certainly. Maybe we can give an update to the city council in the near future if folks would be interested in doing that and coming in person and speaking about some of that. Can we move on to some new business? We just have about 10 minutes left. Number 5 was city council meetings as a source of info. So sometimes people will ask me, what's happening with this or what's happening with that? And the way I have been finding out is by either attending city council meetings or by reading the minutes of the meetings. Carol takes really judicious meeting minutes. She doesn't politicize them. She doesn't highlight any kinds of emotional stuff that might go on. They're pretty black and white. And if people need or want to know what's going on, looking at those minutes is really helpful. Hopefully there will be recordings posted on the website again, not just minutes, but I was able to ask Carol because Dina had some questions And I knew that all of her questions have been discussed by Bill at City Council when he gave his report. And so Carol was able to give me a link so that Dina could watch that portion. She even told me where it was, that portion of City Council, and get the answers to her questions. So I just want to encourage people to take a look at that. If you have questions, or you can also check the minutes or ask Carol to send you the meeting minutes as a part of, she has an email list. So she can do that for you. The new business part had also been, what is our active purpose and do we want to keep meeting? And I think I've heard that people feel we do have a purpose. I'm finding these, our meetings are every other month. I don't know if that's working out for us. Do we want to go back to meeting once a month and being more active? When we lose 1 month, it's been since April since we got together. This time was kind of like our dry run being here at City Hall. In January, we have to have City Hall. Do we want to rebrand ourselves as a task force where we can just meet outside of the city requirements? Your thoughts?
I like being a task force. Also, for another committee, I meet at I don't know how easily this is for other folks, but I meet at the public safety building. That's also quasi-accessible, but it might be hard for folks to get to. So that's another place that folks can meet as well.
Where is it?
Alumni Hall.
Oh, okay.
So
Public safety building? No, that's the police station.
Oh, sorry, the police station.
well, what's the difference between the committee and task force?
What I'm finding out from the Berry City River Access Task Force is that was not formed by City Council. That was formed by Berry citizens, and they are not, they don't have to meet and have been reported. They don't have to fall under all of the rules that we now are following. You know, that's why I'm here. If 4 people or 3 people want to get together and work on a project, they just get together. They don't have to report to the city. They're going ahead and they're just doing their work that they started with. They're doing river testing, water testing, they're advertising. They have a float and parade, they had a booth, they go down to the farmers market sometimes and City Hall so people know what they're doing. And
do they have to publicize their meetings?
The task force I'm in do.
You're on the housing task force, but it's a task force. It is not a city committee.
Yeah, the homelessness task force has to do everything.
Yes, but it doesn't meet the same definition as committee.
That's not that's not what the council, that's not what the council told me.
Right, because the city council failed to change it to a committee. It still left it the task force that came from the All In for Berry. But the All In for Berry task forces are not under the auspices of city council.
But we are under city council.
Yeah, because if someone joins, you have to be approved by the committee to be on that, right? We all had to be approved.
We've all been approved by city council.
And they've set us up that we have to have elections and all of that kind of
We've
stuff.
never had elections, have we?
Yes, we do all the time. The task force operates under a different set of rules, and the homelessness task force has really become a homelessness committee. It still holds the name task force, but it's a committee governed by the city council and the city manager and the mayor. So there are two different things, and I'm also the chair of the Community Center Task Force, and there are no rules. And I talked to BCRB about that, and the task force that came out of the All In for Barrie are not city committees. And the city had a housing committee, and they blended that, and they put the homeless task force in its stead. It's and they call it the task force. But so that's something that we can think about. Do we want to keep hitting our head against the wall? Do we want to try advice and not be listened to? Do we want to try to do something in a more public forum? Something to think about. You know, do we want to keep this? Do we want to keep this committee going as a city committee, or do we want to try to find another way to operate?
I mean, if the goal is to make sure that a transitional plan is being created by the city, and that ADA requirements are being fulfilled by the city, you know, shouldn't we have to fall under a city council?
How are we making sure that, how are we doing that? I don't see us doing anything.
But as a task, but what would, so then what would the point of the ADA committee be?
If we were acting as a task force,
Yeah.
or just a group, we could just be a citizens lobby group for people with disabilities in the city of Barrie. And we could do press releases and be rabble rousers and show up and not be under, and anybody could join our committee that wanted to be a part of it. We wouldn't need to have elections. We could operate as is the word ad hoc group. We could form our own mission and our own goals.
I would need more clarity on this before I make a decision.
I'm just
asking,
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Because every meeting we come to, I hear people say, nobody listens to us, nobody shows up, nobody seems to care what we're doing, nobody even cares if we meet or not. And that's pretty frustrating to hear. I'm frustrated by that. And
I haven't heard of this meeting, but I just need more clarity on task force versus committee first.
Yeah, it's very frustrating when, you know, when we first started it with Erica and I, we must have had what, at least 12 members that would show up every month. And then now we get 6, and Barrie City is not represented in any of these meetings in a really long time. When was the last time Jeff actually came to a meeting?
But again, I think we also need clarity from the city manager about what the city's role in this is also.
I also think that at the time when ADA committee was created, with Barrie, how many committees were there in the city?
Planning Commission, the Development Review Board, what other ones do they have that are like more legal ones? Those were the ones. And
Yeah.
all these other committees have since then come, I'm just looking here, like the tree committee and the dog park committee and the committee for the animal and fowl task force,
The tree committee.
animal control committee.
I just think that there's so many that have been created that there's confusion as to what the roles are at this point, and it's become lost. And so there needs to be clarification on the city staff's part on what these committees' roles are. You know,
So that's actively being pursued. Because Rick was trying to bring Nicholas up to speed on that. Those are the questions that Nicholas is asking, and Rick also. And so they're working on what are all these committees doing? Which ones do we need to have? So how do we feel? What do we want to say? Is there some message we want to give to the new city manager?
right. And because I'm sure, you know, and when the creation of this happened, it was well intentioned, but in developing all these other committees, it's been overshadowed.
Well, pretty much all we have to do is send them, you know, the ADA guide for small cities and towns, and that's all the information they need to know.
Yeah, they need to be in compliance. The city needs to be in compliance. This is not just a small group of people who want this. They need to be in compliance with something federal. Right?
Yes. Right.
I agree with that.
This is bigger than the city of Barrie. So if they want people coming in to spend money in the city of Barrie, if they want people to move into the city of Barrie, if they want people to rent and buy houses in the city of Barrie, they need to be compliant.
If they don't want to be sued by the federal government.
Yeah, the suing kind of thing comes from like someone who wants to get into the building and can't, and then takes it to the, disability rights group.
Yeah.
They
take it the Department of Justice.
So somebody needs to do that in order to press that button.
You know, how about, you know, if we were ever to bring somebody who was huge in the disability community and invite them to the city of Barrie, how embarrassing would it be for them to come into City Hall?
I mean, Burlington back in early 2000s got a huge lawsuit put against them because they weren't in compliance.
So, I mean, put it to them that way.
So I just don't know. Would we like to
put it on our next agenda?
Would we like to invite the new city manager or send him a note telling him that we have these questions?
I think we could invite him. That'd be fine.
I thought we were already supposed to be inviting him.
So do we want to, I'm jumping ahead in this agenda, I guess.
Go ahead.
The next meeting, do we want to meet in October, September?
I think we should meet in September.
Yeah. So that would.
Okay, so are you saying that we want to meet every month?
At least for now, because
for now, yeah,
we've got this momentum, right?
Yes.
So what, that would be September 26th.
You say so.
Yeah, the fourth Thursday, right?
Fourth Thursday, oh, Monday. Monday,
I mean, fourth Monday.
yes.
Okay, so I will get that changed on the website so that it says that we meet monthly. And then the Zoom will get set up for us to use the same thing every month.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I really appreciate all of you that are here. Thank you so much. You are all such good thinkers, and I appreciate that we have some enthusiasm.
It'd be nice if we could all meet in person.
I'll try to come to city council next time.
Is there, Erica, is there the ADA compliancy, is that written somewhere? Does the city have that?
The city does it? I don't think so, but I can bring copies of small town guides.
Okay.
Yeah, should have it.
All right.
It should go to the city manager.
But
And we could find it online too. If I wanted to reference it, can I find it online?
oh yeah, all it is small town guides for ADA compliance. Just Google that and you'll find it.
Okay.
Erica, is that something Jeff should have already had?
Absolutely.
So Erica, can you send us a link to it?
I can do that. It'll probably be tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
I'll
be
work
now.
on the meeting minutes too, and I'll probably get that to folks tomorrow as well.
Yeah, like all ADA guides, it reads like stereo instructions, but yeah, I can send it out.
Yeah, it just gives us a tool, and I know they're huge.
Yeah, this one's actually really small, but it's law, so it reads like stereo instructions.
Okay, so we're gonna meet in September, and we've got that set up. We've gone past our time, but
All right.
that's okay. I signed us up from 2:30 to 4:30 because it took Rick and me at least 10 minutes to get the system working. And I'm going to do that again next time. And I will come and be here so that we get and practice for it when it becomes law. And I'll try to learn more about those bombers. And Michelle, making you co-host was brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome. I move to adjourn.
I second that.
A second.
Thank you.
All right. Bye,
All right.
y'all.
I
Bye.
have to go find out how to close the meeting off.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know.
All righty. So who seconded it? I don't even know. Tina. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Hillary. Whew. Okay. That's terrific. You can sign out if you haven't already.
I should be out.
Okay.
I think you're the only one that's still in.
Yeah, I have to go and figure out how to turn all this stuff off. It says leave. Okay, whoops, there we go.